Well, good Thursday morning. Happy October 1st, and welcome to the Greater Owensboro Chamber of Commerce Rooster Booster Breakfast. Candace, good morning.
Good morning, Chad. How are you today?
Oh, I need to do that too. Hang on, I'm going to model my OCTC mask. These are really nice, by the way. We're excited about this morning. In fact, right now we're standing on campus at OCTC. Beautiful day.
Beautiful day.
Amazing day. We're at the Humanities Building where something very special is going to be happening right here on the show this morning.
That's right, Chad. We're going to have the mayoral forum via Zoom with our 4 mayor candidates, and we're also going to have the House District 13 forum right here in Blandford Lecture Hall with DJ Johnson and Representative Jim Glenn.
And what's really cool about this too, because let's be honest, COVID-19 has sort of thrown a huge wrench into campaign season. So for a lot of you, today is going to be the first opportunity you get to really hear from the candidates in both of those races.
Absolutely, and we're just thrilled as the chamber to be a part of making that happen for you and letting you make an informed decision.
So get yourself a bowl of cereal, cup of coffee, make yourself an omelet, and kick back and relax and get ready for our virtual Rooster Booster. And to kick it off this morning, we have with us Kara McFadden, who right here at OCTC is SGA president. She is also a member of the KCTCS Board of Regents. She's a student representative, and she is here with this morning's invocation.
Good morning. I'm Kara McFadden. Thank you for inviting me to give the blessing today. I don't take it lightly that I'm here before you. It's usually in hindsight that our spiritual knowledge is 20/20. So if someone flashes in your mind, I want to ask if you'll reach out and send them a quick note of encouragement, just to let them know that you're thinking about them. That's what's on my heart today. Now will everyone please join me in a moment of silence followed by a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for all of your blessings. I would like to pray those blessings upon this meeting and pray for our leaders at the national, state, and local level. I ask you to be with us for this Rooster Booster event. Thank you for loving us even when we're unlovable. Help us bless somebody and learn to give grace to each other. Guard our words and actions that they may be kind and purposeful. Please impact our faith so that our walk glorifies you. You are our strength and our Redeemer, our Comforter and our Protector. Guide and direct us and keep us in your care. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Kara, thanks so much. And right now we have moved to one of 2 new additions on the campus of OCTC. Candace, what do you think about the brand new charging stations?
I'm so charged up about it.
A brand new partnership between OCTC, Kenergy, and Big Rivers. And Mike, tell us about these. These are awesome.
So, you know, Chad, technology has been an issue for students with COVID. And Big River and Kenergy came together and gave us an opportunity to really take a barrier off the table. Students can charge their cell phones wirelessly. They have a 110 plug for their laptops. They also have USB and micro USB over here for their devices as well. So we welcome this addition. Again, another great partnership to really remove barriers for student success.
Yeah. Hey, and speaking of removing barriers, just want to point out too, ADA accessible right here and compliant. This is awesome. All right, it is now time for this morning's Pledge of Allegiance. If you're watching from home, awesome. Get up out of those seats for us. We're going to have you stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and to present that this morning, we have Dr. Eunice Taylor.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Eunice Kathleen Taylor. I am a professor of nursing at Owensboro Community and Technical College. I am also a retired Air Force officer and a veteran of the United States Air Force after 26 years of serving my country. Please join me at this time as we pledge allegiance to the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Taylor, thank you very much. By the way, Dr. Taylor on the nursing faculty here at OCTC and an Air Force veteran. Love that. Okay, you may be wondering, why is Candace holding a cutting board? Well, we'll tell you. We're going to give this away this morning.
That's right. So the carpentry students have made this, right?
Yeah, fast track
Yeah, that's right.
construction.
That's right, fast track construction. And so it's the Mingle Minute Prize, and to be able to access this great prize,
All you have to do is just tag your friends as you're watching the Rooster Booster virtual breakfast this morning. So just tag folks, invite them to come along and enjoy. And at the end of this,
Tag my friend.
we'll give this away. That's really cool.
it is awesome.
Okay, so we are standing inside the manufacturing lab. This is incredible. Take a look around real fast. This is cool. By the way, I learned something today. Come with me for just a second. Come this way. I learned something. VF1, the VF stands for very first. It was the very first one. That's how high tech we are here in the manufacturing lab. That's hilarious. Mike, today, this is yesterday, so Wednesday, you all awarded some scholarships.
Yes, we were actually able, through the Haas Foundation, Gene Haas Foundation, to award 4 additional scholarships for $1,000 apiece to 4 incoming students in the computerized machining and manufacturing program.
How about that?
Again, partnerships removing student barriers.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. So gang, right now, it is time to meet this month's new chamber members. So please join us in welcoming these fine folks to the Greater Owensboro Chamber of Commerce. Take it away, Hannah.
The Brown and Westendorf team was formed with the mindset of 2 is better than 1. With different professional backgrounds in advertising and management, combined with their years in real estate, the level of service is superior. The main focus of Brown and Westendorf is educating their clients to the local market, so they are well positioned to make wise decisions in the buying or selling of property. They pride themselves on communication with consumers and being a constant resource in years to follow. Step 1 to a solid real estate relationship begins with actively listening and putting their clients' needs first, without any unnecessary pressure. An effective plan is then set in place by defining achievable goals and implementing creative and effective marketing plans. They are here and excited to assist you in making your dreams come true, whether you're buying or selling real estate. Welcome to the Chamber, Brown and Westendorf Group. Diane Gates Family Practice will begin accepting patients of all ages in November. Diane Gates prides herself in providing healthcare with a heart. She gives each patient her undivided attention during their visit and offers a wide range of services, including medically assisted weight loss. Construction of their beautiful new office space is underway, and they will begin pre-scheduling appointments through their Facebook page in the next month. The office is located off Highway 54 in the same center as the new Nation's Pharmacy. Walk-ins are welcome, and they hope to see you soon. Welcome to the Chamber, Diane Gates Family Practice. Fairview IT Management is a locally owned and operated technology firm that provides an array of IT services dedicated to assisting businesses with their technology needs. Their professional services include, but are not limited to, managed IT systems, business phone services, network security, cloud hosting, video surveillance, access control, server installations, and low-voltage cabling. With their proactive IT approach and exceptional customer service, they can improve the efficiency of any business's day-to-day operations. Welcome to the Chamber, Fairview IT Management. Mega Replay stores buy, sell, and trade used movies, used electronics, used video game systems, and video game accessories. Everything they sell is guaranteed to play like new. Their stores are stocked with tens of thousands of used media items, and they pride themselves on having a huge selection and great prices. The Owensboro franchise owner is local to the tri-state area and has worked for the company for many years and is excited to be part of this great community. Welcome to the Chamber, Mega Replay. The Sisney Credit Solutions Plan is designed to support your financial opportunities by implementing positive habits to create and maintain a strong financial future. Their unique collection of services have been carefully selected to provide protection and opportunity over the many aspects of your finances, all combined into one easy-to-use system. Welcome to the Chamber, Sisney Credit Solutions.
Welcome to all of our new members. We are so glad to welcome you aboard. And can I just tell you right now that Jessica Kerr is completely messing with the lights in this room. She has bumped up against that thing 2 different times. And can we get a robot in charge of the lights, please? We're in the robotics lab. This is so cool. This is Gage, by the way, the robotics automation instructor here at OCTC. Tell us about this lab.
Well, this lab in particular is our welding robot lab. Out in the industry around here, we have a lot of car manufacturers. There's a place called the Tulsa TTMA.
Yep.
They utilize a lot of these welding robots. This is one of our many labs we have. We have a material handling lab as well, and we also have this welding robot lab. In here, you focus on creating that perfect bead as far as welding goes, just like welding regularly, except you're making the robot do it for you. So less work on you. Here we have an ABB robot, and this is one of the different brands, and this is also common out in industry around us. We have ABB over here, and we have Fanuc over here. So we also have different brands of robots that we work on in this class as well.
This is cool. Can I just say, I kind of feel like I'm on the set of Terminator. This is really awesome. And secondly, too, I have to say, if you're going to be a robotics automations instructor, your first name should really be Gage. I mean, that's like the coolest name ever. For maybe the coolest job ever. He hates being on campus.
It's short and sweet.
All right, so right now,
sweet.
we're about to throw it to your boss, the president of OCTC. We're about to throw it to Dr. Scott Williams. Ready for that?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, Dr. Williams, our breakfast sponsor, take it away.
Good morning, Chamber members. We are always pleased to host a Rooster Booster breakfast, and on behalf of the students, faculty, and staff at OCTC, we want to welcome you to this morning's Rooster Booster breakfast. We are grateful for your support. Before getting started, I want to take a moment and recognize a couple of groups that without their hard work and dedication, we cannot serve this community. I want to recognize and thank the members of our Board of Directors, chaired by Mr. Buzz Backstrom, and our Foundation Board, chaired by Mr. Steve Gardner. I'd like to thank all of our secondary partners in the City of Owensboro, Davis County, Hancock County, McLean County, and Ohio County for our many successful collaborations. I want to also recognize our higher education partners, Brescia, Kentucky Wesleyan College, and WKUO, who do so much to advance higher education in our region. And most importantly, I want to recognize our students, alumni, faculty, and staff, whom are the backbone of OCTC and our successes. During this pandemic, OCTC and our higher education partners, Brescia, KWC, and WKUO, have been open for business and serving our community. OCTC's mission to improve the quality of life in our community has not diminished during these difficult times. In fact, our work is more necessary than ever. We are the community's college and have stayed steadfast in serving our students and this community. I wanted to share a couple of items as examples of how we have positively impacted the lives in our community. First up is a short video from our Experiential Learning Center team.
Hello, my name is Nicole Ralph, and I'm the Title III Project Director at Owensboro Community and Technical College. OCTC received a $2 million grant from the U.S. Department of Education's Title III Strengthening Institutions program in October of 19. The primary objective of this grant is to expand experiential education across all OCTC degree programs. We are excited about the development of the new Experiential Learning Center and what it will offer students, faculty, staff, and you, our community partners. We plan to increase the number of internships, practicums, co-ops, as well as to offer more hands-on, project-based learning across the board. Ultimately, we're going to supply the community with a more well-rounded workforce. Please stay tuned for an important message from the OCTC ELC.
Well, it's really great to have you on campus. Well, Chad, here's the team I was telling you about. This is the ELC team. We have Helen Bennett, the ELC coordinator.
Hey, Chad.
John Bristow, ELC success coach, and Rosa Richards, ELC success coach.
We have a great team, and even under these unplanned circumstances, we are making progress. We are gaining momentum and celebrating successes every day. So Chad, just recently, John and I participated in orientation here at OCTC. And Dr. Williams, he spoke specifically about OCTC's vision, mission, and focus. So something he said that really registered with me is that we, OCTC, exist for our community, not for ourselves. And as the ELC coordinator, I can assure you with the greatest confidence that this team is focused on all of our key stakeholders, the students, our faculty, and the community.
So John, how do you serve the students here at OCTC?
Chad, the Experiential Learning Center provides our students with career services, internships, mentorships, service learning opportunities, and so much more.
So Rosa, I would imagine that faculty is another stakeholder. So what do you do to support them?
So we offer a few different types of faculty services. The first is the professional development aspect. So we provide our faculty with different professional development opportunities. We also work really closely with them to develop course embedded learning projects that our students can participate in and get some hands-on experience while they're in the classroom.
Helen, since today's focus is on ELC's community partners, how will the ELC benefit the community?
First, a big shout out to our business and industry partners. Each of you are essential to the success of our students and to the ELC. We cannot serve our students without our community partners. The ELC is dedicated to the economic development of this region, and we do this by assuring our students are ready for graduation and that they're ready to go to work. This approach, it requires us to work directly with our business partners, and we're looking for opportunities for our students to have relevant experience and professionals that they can network with prior to graduation.
So how do we manage all of this?
The ELC is powered by Purple Briefcase, a professional networking platform. We need you business partners to be a part of Purple Briefcase. The ELC is here to assist you with this virtual resource.
Purple Briefcase, your access to quality new talent and ideas.
Next up is one of our graduates, Miss Lacey Parham. She happened to send me an email when I was working on these very remarks. I think you will find her story as inspirational as I did.
Dr. Williams, good afternoon. I hope you are doing well, and I hope you're having a great semester thus far. I just wanted to reach out and express my appreciation for everything that you and the other faculty and staff at OCTC did for me in my time as a student from 2014 to 2016. When I walked into the admissions office at OCTC, I was just 16 years old, and my biggest concern while taking my placement exams was whether I would finish in time to get to my road test for my license later on that afternoon. Although I was 16, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an Air Force JAG, and I wanted to start college courses to get an early start on that goal. Most of the time when I told people about this big plan I had, I wasn't taken seriously. People told me I'd change my mind as I got older. However, not a single OCTC faculty member treated my goals as unrealistic. During my first meeting with Jessica Cecil, my advisor, she helped me to structure my entire academic plan to prepare me to pursue my Air Force JAG goal. My time at OCTC helped me to grow exponentially on both personal and professional levels. I had incredible instructors who mentored me, supported me, and made me a better critical thinker, writer, and analyst. I took classes during my time at OCTC that made some of my undergraduate and law school classes at the University of Louisville seem easy. These academic challenges I experienced as an OCTC student improved my work ethic and helped me to form a solid foundation for good organization and study habits. As a student representative on the Board of Regents, I developed my public speaking and communication skills, which prepared me well for law school and my career as a whole. I had opportunities to participate in multiple student organizations, and these opportunities helped me to become a better leader and follower. These lessons in leadership and followership set me up for success as an Air Force officer. Above all this, however, I am infinitely grateful for the encouragement I received for the entirety of my time as an OCTC student from the faculty, staff, and other students. Nobody has impacted the success of my education and career more than you and the other faculty and staff members at OCTC. Although lots of people told me my goals were unrealistic, I received nothing but support and positivity at OCTC. I want to thank you and everyone there for believing in me, even at times when I doubted myself. I can guarantee you I would not be where I am today without that support, and I think frequently about how much my time at OCTC prepared me for success as a professional. Because of the excellent foundation I developed through my time at OCTC, I was admitted to the University of Louisville Brandeis School of Law's 3+3 program as a junior. As a result of that program, I completed my first year of law school and my senior year as an undergraduate student simultaneously, officially receiving my bachelor's degree in May of 2018. That following summer, I completed a clerkship with the Air Force Base at Scott Air Force Base in Illinois. I worked that clerkship full-time while also serving as an editor for my law school's flagship journal and taking 7 credit hours of law classes over a 5-week period. To say the least, it was an intense summer, but the organizational skills I developed as an OCTC student helped me to manage my time and resources effectively. Towards the end of my second year of law school, I was accepted into the Air Force JAG Corps. Acceptance rates for the Corps are percentage-wise in the low single digits. For my Ascensions program, acceptance rates range anywhere from 1% to 4% depending on the year. It's an extremely competitive process, and it takes the average applicant multiple tries before getting accepted. Even attorneys from Ivy League law schools are often not selected, and getting selected for a JAG slot, especially in the Air Force, is well known within the legal community to be difficult and unlikely. Needless to say, I was worried about whether I would ever have a chance. I was attending a state law school that was facing some accreditation issues, and I knew I would only be 21 years old by the time I graduated law school. However, the academic and professional skills that I established as a student at OCTC prepared me to perform well in my clerkship and as a law student. Ultimately, the application of those skills helped me to graduate law school summa cum laude, pass the Kentucky bar exam on the first try, and most importantly, those skills helped me to earn a slot in the Corps. I commissioned as an Air Force officer in May, and I entered active duty at the beginning of July. Since then, I have completed Judge Advocate Staff Officer course at Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama, and I am now back at my duty station, Grand Forks Air Force Base in North Dakota, as an official and designated Judge Advocate. I absolutely love what I do. As a practitioner of law for the Air Force, I get to work in so many different fields of practice. I get to provide legal assistance on civil issues to military members and their families, prosecute military members on behalf of the Air Force under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, and work on a host of other issues involving everything from operations and international law to the Freedom of Information Act, all in the same day. Most importantly, I get to serve my country as a JAG officer. I am grateful every single day I get to wear the uniform, and I constantly wonder how I was lucky enough to be selected as a judge advocate. I will promote to captain in January, and I'll have the opportunity to try my first case on behalf of the United States government before I even turn 23. I know I would not be in the position to have that opportunity if it wasn't for the 2 years I spent at OCTC. I cannot fully express how appreciative I am for everything that you and your faculty and staff have done for me. I love to talk about my experience at OCTC, and I tell people frequently that my time as a student there was instrumental in getting to me to where I am now. If there is ever anything I can do for you or for OCTC, please do not hesitate to reach out. I am a strong believer in the idea that spending 2 years at a community college is the best decision that a prospective college student can make, even if he or she is looking towards a graduate or professional degree in the future. I would be happy to discuss how community colleges helped me to fast track my way to a law degree with any student who is interested in a similar path. And I am more than willing to write or record something for the college outlining how beneficial my time at OCTC was for my education and career. Thank you and the entire OCTC faculty and staff for having such a positive impact on my education and career. Very respectfully, Lacey B. Parham, First Lieutenant, U.S. Air Force, Chief Legal Assistant and Preventive Law.
Thank you, Lacey, for sharing your story. I warned y'all it was pretty inspiring. Thank you again for the opportunity and privilege to share this morning with you.
Dr. Williams, thank you so much. And again, huge thank you for sponsoring the October Rooster Booster Breakfast. And Mike, let's talk about manufacturing. Thanks for the tour today. Let's talk about the workforce aspect of this.
You know, Chad, we're always working to try to align the workforce needs with our training programs here at the college, whether it be an academic program our program through our Workforce Solutions Department. We can customize training to your needs. We can find students or graduates to fit your needs. So just reach out to us anytime. Our program alignment, whether, as Chad said, is on the workforce side or the academic side, is key to our success and key to your success. So we're dedicated to the workforce in the Owensboro and the surrounding county areas. So please reach out. We're willing to help. We're here for you.
A lot going on at the Owensboro Community and Technical College, and of course a lot going on at the Greater Owensboro Chamber of Commerce. And with our monthly chamber update, we're going to throw it to Candace Brake.
Dr. Williams' office, can I help you? Well, hey, Dr. Williams, how you doing? Yes, Candace. What am I doing here? I'm just hanging out, just trying to help you with some paperwork. Looks like you got a lot around here. Okay, I will get out of here as soon as I finish up my chamber update. Okay, see you later. Bye. Uh-oh. Well, in the interest of time, I'm going to let you all know that it's been a really busy month here at the Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to OCTC's campus, and welcome to the month of October as we celebrate National Manufacturing Month. So today's Rooster Booster kicks off our Go Vote season at the Chamber with our Mayor's Forum and our State Legislative Forum. But there's going to be a lot more that happens this month with Go Vote. First of all, on October the 14th, the Voter's Guide will be sent out to every household in Davis County. It will be in the Messenger Inquirer, and it's a mass distribution day. A lot of information on each candidate, along with the questionnaire, so you can know how the candidates stand on certain issues. Also, Red, White, and Blue, our iconic event that kind of culminates the election season, is on October the 29th at the Davis County Courthouse at 4:30. We have invited all the City Commission candidates, the mayoral candidates, the House candidates, the U.S. Congress candidates, and also the candidates for United States Senate. Big Rivers is our sponsor, and FOP will be on hand with free hot dogs and hamburgers and drinks for everyone there. Of course, we'll be following COVID rules and regulations, but we will have a great time and get out to meet our candidates and hear where they stand on the issues that we value the most. Speaking of Go Vote and voting, CYP has stepped up once again and is leading our community in one of the most important issues that we have right now, which is a poll worker shortage for Election Day. I'd like to share this video that we have from our Chamber Young Professionals.
Good morning, Rooster Booster. Our community is in need of 200 poll workers for Election Day. With many of the traditional poll workers in the more at-risk population for COVID-19, CYP has decided to host a poll workers drive. We are trying to recruit as many young professionals as possible to volunteer to work the polls. Interested volunteers must meet a short list of qualifications and be prepared to spend the full day at the polls on Election Day. Keep an eye out on our social media accounts and emails from CYP and the Chamber for more information.
The Chamber of Commerce and CYP are excited to promote this initiative, and we encourage young professionals to get involved on Election Day. We'll see you at the polls.
We are so proud of our CYP, and I want to remind everyone that, you don't have to be a YP to jump on this and to be one of the people that volunteers to be a poll worker. It's really easy to volunteer. We encourage you to do that. And employers, we ask you, don't make these young men and women take days of vacation. Let them go. Sponsor that day for them so you too can be a part of helping our community out and showing the rest of the state and the rest of the country how Owensboro makes things happen. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock on Facebook Live, JA will announce the Owensboro Business Hall of Fame laureates this year, and that's sponsored by German American Bank. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. on Facebook Live on JA's account to find out who those men and women are that our community is honoring. For the flu shots, one of the biggest things that we've got going right now is our personal health and making sure our community stays healthy and follows all of the rules of social distancing, masking, washing our hands, etc. But another thing we have to do as a community is make sure that we all get our flu shots. Owensboro Health and the Owensboro Convention Center have teamed up today. They are offering flu shots at the Convention Center, and it's a drive-through flu shot set up from 9 to 3 at the Convention Center today. Make sure you get your flu shot this season, just to make sure our community stays as healthy as possible. And thank you to Owensboro Health and Owensboro Convention Center for teaming up and to make sure our community stays healthy. So we've been working with different partners throughout the community on community activism as far as growing Owensboro, growing our brand, really deciding who we are as a community. And we have a special guest coming to our next Rooster Booster. He'll be in town for a day or so, and after he leaves, we're gonna have a community book read where we can all talk about ways to get together to create this community that we all love and to continue to move forward and move up in the country so people will know Owensboro's story. So I'd like for you now to meet Andrew Davis and hear how he is going to come to town and help us define who we are next month.
Good morning, my Owensboro Chamber friends. I know you are all hunkered down enjoying another remote Rooster Booster session. Now, I know many of you don't know me, but I know you. Yep, we have our Brescia University shirt right here. Mine's dirty, so this is actually my wife's, but over the past few weeks, I've been diving into Owensboro's heritage and history. I've been listening to some Bill Monroe and watching some Johnny Depp films, and I've been sipping a little bourbon. Why? Well, because I'm coming to Owensboro in November, and I can't wait. Sure, I've had the opportunity to work with the White House, and yeah, I've written for Charles Kuralt. I've produced television shows for MTV and NBC. I built and sold my own marketing agency, but honestly, I'm most proud of this. Yeah, I'm most proud of the 3 years I spent traveling around the country trying to uncover why some cities and towns are booming and others aren't. What did I find? What I found blew my mind. You see, I thought I'd find out that successful cities had some kind of rock star economic development team, or that these towns secured some major funding for a big infrastructure project, or maybe that the city raised money for a downtown revitalization project. But that's not what I found at all. In fact, what I found shocked me, and it's transformed cities as big as Cleveland, whole neighborhoods in Detroit, and towns as small as Batavia, New York. What I found, I chronicled in this book. And the truth is, at the heart of every booming city and town are people just like you. The business owners, the executives, the salespeople, their marketing teams, even the pizza place owner. Yep, it turned out my journey wasn't about how to market a city. It ended up being about how to grow your business, how to leave a legacy, and how that grows a town or a city. So, I'll see you in November. Have fun, Rooster Boosters!
Keep on shining, shine on the one that's gonna say goodbye.
So in closing, we know that this is National Manufacturers Month, and one of the best things that we can do to honor that is to close out by honoring our 2020 Manufacturer of the Year Award, Kentucky Legend. So please watch this video with us as we celebrate Kentucky Legend and all the contributions that they've made over a century to Owensboro.
I'm overly excited. I'm really proud of our team. This year was really wild because we were up against super heavy hitters. Like, these were mega large companies in general, let alone here in Owensboro. Once again, we really didn't think we had a chance. And we're really honored to be in the same category as them, let alone to be the ones that won this year. Kentucky Legend is the nation's #1 natural juice ham. We are processed here in Owensboro, Kentucky. We actually process many different meats, all the way through to 6 different brands here in Owensboro. I'm hoping that the employees that work at Kentucky Legend, which is roughly over 600 employees, that they're proud of everything that we do in the community. I'm hoping that with winning this award, they realize that we're more than just giving back to the community, and that's something really, really outstanding, and it's something to be proud of. The big thing that we're doing this year is that we're launching a new brand campaign, which I think people got to see at the Rooster Booster, which is Kentucky Legend, where food ought to come from. And it's really focused on the fact that Kentucky is a location where you should want your food to come from. And I think at the end of the day, not only are we in a great location doing great work and making great products, we're also the Manufacturer of the Year, and we're working hard within our overall city and our community to make sure that we're giving back to it as much as we can.
Kentucky Legend, awesome, and congratulations to you. Okay, So right now, before we carry on, we have to say goodbye to a beloved chamber employee. She's so excited about being on camera this morning too. But it's important. So you all, please welcome to the program, Jessica Kirk. Come on, Jessica. I want to give her a hug, but I can't because of COVID, but I want to give her a hug. So I want you to tell everybody the rather bittersweet news you're sharing with us.
It is very, very bittersweet news that I am going to be going to Boardwalk Pipelines. It's been such an amazing experience being at the Chamber, and it's truly been an honor to work alongside the incredible staffs that we've had, serve the wonderful leadership of the Chamber Board, and I'm looking forward to a new exciting adventure, but it's a little bitter, Chad.
We're gonna miss you. We're gonna miss you. Okay, but in keeping with the theme of moving on to an exciting new adventure, Jessica, you've got this, right? Now, earlier in the program this morning, we shared with you some really cool video of a cutting board made right here on campus by the construction team, the Fast Track construction team. Up for grabs today if you are tagging folks on Facebook and inviting them to join the program. But guess what, Jessica? I have something else in my little pocket right here. I have a gift card. How about that? That also goes with this, and this is to Integrity Nursery. So as we get ready for our forum this morning, make sure that you're inviting friends, like we said earlier. This is really the first time, because of COVID-19, that you're really getting a chance to hear from these candidates up close and personal. A great opportunity to hear about their platforms and hear about their visions for the city and the community. So, without further ado, you ready for this?
Let's kick it off.
Okay, let's do it. We're going to throw it to a very recognizable face and voice with the Greater Owensboro Chamber of Commerce, Bart Darrell.
Well, good morning, and welcome to the Chamber Mayoral and House District 13 Issues Forum. I am Bart Darrell, member of the Greater Owensboro Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and currently the chair of the Advocacy Committee. And I want to welcome each and every one of you to this very, very important forum. One of the Chamber's goals, one of our primary goals, is a prosperous community both economically, culturally, and from a health standpoint. And to make sure those goals are accomplished, we have to have an engaged community. And part of that civic engagement is voting. But it's not just about voting, it's also about being an informed voter. And that's where forums like this come into play. And while we at the Chamber are so proud to sponsor and the forums of this nature so that we can assist you, the public, and our Chamber members on being that truly informed voter. The Chamber is committed to the fundamentals of democracy, and there's nothing more fundamental to democracy than opportunities like this for discourse and engagement between candidates. And so at this time, I would like to introduce the mayoral candidates for this year. Mayor Tom Watson, City Commissioner Larry Condor, City Commissioner Pam Smith-Wright, and Drayson Williams. And not only do I want to thank them for being part of this forum, but I also want to thank them for their commitment to our community and to public service. I would also like to introduce at this time our House District 13 candidates, Representative Jim Glenn and former Representative DJ Johnson. I also want to thank OCTC for providing this great facility for us to have this forum and give all of you the opportunity to engage along with our candidates. Also, finally, a thanks to the Owensboro Neighborhood Alliance for their input and support in this initiative. Now, it is my privilege to introduce to you your moderator, who has done this more than a time or two, the moderator of all moderators from the Owensboro Messenger-Inquirer, Mr. Matt Francis.
As Bart said, I'm Matt Francis. I'm the executive editor of the Messenger-Inquirer, and I will be moderating today's forum. I want to talk a little bit about the format that we'll be using today. We're going to start with 60-second opening statements, and how we determine the order for this is simply by how the candidates appear on the ballot. So Larry Condor will go first, Pam Smith-Wright will go second, Tom Watson will go third, Drayson Williams will go fourth. Once we finish the opening statements, we will move on to the question and answer session. Those will be 90 seconds each, and again, we'll continue following the same order. Since Larry Condor went first on the opening statement, we will start with Pam Smith-Wright, Second question will go to Tom Watson. Third question will go to Drayson Williams. Fourth question will go to Larry Condor, and so forth. All the candidates will answer each question. They'll just be going in a little bit different order. And then once we finish the questions, we will have 6 today. We will then move on to the closing statements, and for that, we will go in reverse ballot order. So Drayson Williams will go first, Tom Watson will go second, Pam Smith-Wright will go third, and Larry Condor will wrap it up. I also wanted to let you know that today's forum will be conducted via Zoom, and we're doing it this way because of commissioner availability. Larry Condor is actually in the hospital today, and that is why on the screen you will just see his name while you'll see the video of everyone else. So with that being said, let's start the 2020 Mayoral Forum. Okay, then we'll start with the opening statements, and Larry Condor, you'll be first.
Thank you, Matt. And thank you to the Chamber, Candace, and everyone else to be able to put this on for everyone to actually be introduced to everyone. COVID-19 has caused issues where we can't traditionally get out and campaign like we'd love to be able to, like all of us want to do, especially to talk to the people of Owensboro to see what's on their mind, what's going on in their lives, and what else can be helped with. Looking at this election, we came in, myself, Watson, Mayor Watson, and Pam Smith-Wright in 2017, and had a lot of hard work to do. That work is paying off, both financially and especially in our safety sectors and some other sectors that we need to be working on. Going forward, it will be imperative that we take advantage of the new habits that we just formed with COVID-19 on how we live, on how we work, and how we play. And how we're going to be able to do that is being able to see that future, to be able to make sure that our children enjoy coming back to Owensboro and living here forever. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Now we'll go to Pam Smith-Wright. You'll have 60 seconds for your opening.
Good morning. First, I'd like to thank the Chamber for sponsoring this forum and giving me the opportunity to tell you why the last 9.5 years as your city commissioner has prepared me for being your next mayor. As the longest serving female and the first woman mayor pro tem, I have been in training for this office that I now seek. I know how to work with the staff and all the important partners in our city to move it forward. The Chamber, the EDC, the Tourist Commission, these are all important parts of our community. We have lots of issues we need to discuss, and that's our homelessness, drugs, and listening to our youth. And I ask that you will give me a chance to be your mayor and to make this a better place for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Tom Watson, you have 60 seconds for your opening.
Well, good morning to everyone, and welcome to another mayoral forum. It just seems like yesterday, we were doing these things 4 years ago, and I've been very humbled and honored to have the opportunity to serve as your mayor the last 4 years. We did come in at difficult times, and I think our city staff was so used to working with very little that when we started doing well, they just continued to do well. And we really need to thank most of them for all this. The elected officials had something to do with it, but the staff in our community really have done a wonderful job. I ask for your vote. I'm the number 3 on the ballot. I've done this job before. Things that are being brought up, I probably have already had some interest in doing in the last 8 years that I've served. We have a wonderful community. We have made progress, and what sets me apart from the rest of the candidates is the relationships I've built in Washington and in Frankfurt and in Indianapolis and other places to keep us connected to where progress can occur. And progress has occurred in Owensboro, and it will continue to occur as long as we work together as a team. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Drayson Williams, 60 seconds for your opening.
Good morning, everyone. I'm running for mayor because I'm born and raised in Owensboro. I've went all across this nation and world telling people about the good things that are happening in Owensboro. But since I've been away and I've been coming back, I've noticed that there's a lot of people hurting right now. There's a lot of people who do not feel that their voices have been heard. And so I'm running on a new narrative. It's about all of us having an opportunity to engage in the decision-making process, the vision-making process for this city. And it's for women, it's for poor working folks who feel like they have something to say, but for far too long, no one's listened. I want all of us to come to the table as a city and really begin the community building process. For far too long, we focused on buildings in community, but I think it's time to switch our priorities and start community building. Thank you.
Thank you, Drayson. Okay, we'll move into the question and answer session now. As I said, we will start the first question with Pam Smith-Wright. I'll ask the question when each candidate is finished. I'll move on to the next candidate. If you need me to repeat the question, just ask and I'll certainly do so. Thank you. First question, Pam, what do you think is the most important role for the mayor of Owensboro, and how would you distinguish yourself in that role?
Well, number one, I think that the most important role as a mayor is to unite our community. And how I would do that is to maybe form a task force where people from all walks of life would come together and set out goals that they think that this city should accomplish. I think the mayor should be the face of this community and should go out and, of course, try to bring in new revenue, whether it be through businesses or otherwise. You have to be able to communicate with people, and I feel that I can do that because I have been on the Kentucky League of Cities Board of Directors for the last 6 years, and I have connections there where I can not only work on the local level, but on the state level.
Thank you, Pam. Tom Watson.
Yes, Matt, thank you. It's a good question. I've had the opportunity to do this job for 8 years, so I think I have a good understanding of what it takes. And, you know, in a city manager form of government, it's a little different than some governments that have a strong mayor form. And in our aspect, we have to learn to work with a city manager who takes care of operations. And the mayor and the city commission will set policy and ask the city manager to implement the policy. As time goes on, I've had 3 city managers, 3 assistant city managers, three attorneys, 3 police chiefs, 3 fire chiefs. And so I've had the opportunity to see all types of personalities that are involved in local government. And if you don't have a strong working relationship with fiscal court, Frankfurt and Washington, it puts you behind the 8 ball. And I think that's what we've proven in the last 4 years, you know, with the ability to apply for grants and to write the grants the proper way. And, you know, when you talk about bringing the community together, you can be a cheerleader, but it's more than that. It's being able to sit down with decision makers all across this country and see what's best for our community and have the ability to bring those things home. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Drayson Williams.
Sorry, could you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. What do you think is the most important role for the mayor of Owensboro, and how would you distinguish yourself in that role?
Yes. So I believe the most important role for a mayor, especially during this specific time, is to be not only the face of the city, but being someone who's able to verbalize what the values of our city is. And that's not just the few people who usually are able to sit at the table, but that's for the teacher, that's for the person who is still struggling with addiction. It's being able to listen to all of those voices and creating a collective story, and then working with the great people we have in city government to create strategies and policies around what the people are saying that they need. You know, for far too long, we've left certain people out. A lot of people don't feel heard by certain elected officials. And we're in a time where people are crying out to be heard. And so in this moment, in COVID-19, in the racial uprisings, it's imperative that we have a leader who is listening, who is amongst the people, who knows what their stories are, and then who can take those stories to the great people we have in City Hall and create strategies around how we can create solutions that address those issues. Those issues have been around a long time. They just need to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Drayson. Larry Condor.
Thank you, Matt. The mayor's position basically sets the agenda for not only the commission itself, but for the rest of the city. It's the bully pulpit, whether you want to use it to be a cheerleader, or if you want to use it to just be financially responsible, or whatever the case may be. Your vision for the city, of what you see for the next 4 years, is on your face, is every time you speak, each person you talk to, each elected official in Frankfort, Washington, D.C., or whatever the case may be, you are that person, is who you are. Relationships are extremely valuable to move Owensboro forward, and always have been, always will be. Never discount that. But I also know that there are certain individuals that also need to be a part of these discussions that hasn't been for a long, long time. And so in setting that agenda collectively with the city commission that is on board with yourself, which is also extremely important, to be able to bring together, by the rule of three, that you have to have 3 votes to get something through, to get something done, that you can actually do that on a consistent basis to be able to address the vision that you want the city to be for the next 4 years. And that vision can be great, and it can be better.
Thank you, Larry. Question number 2, we will start with Tom Watson. Tom, earlier this year, the Davis Fiscal Court deadlocked 2-2 on a non-discrimination or fairness ordinance. And at the time, the supporters of that ordinance talked about that they were going to regroup and approach the city about a similar ordinance. So we can expect that issue will come to the forefront for the next city commission. So with this being a chamber forum and from an economic development perspective, some corporate leaders have talked about the lack of a fairness ordinance hindering executive recruitment. And it also seems to be an issue that younger professionals are passionate about and supportive of. So my question is 2 parts. 1, will you commit to bringing a fairness ordinance to a vote? And 2, what type of fairness ordinance would you be willing to support, if any?
Well, I've made my position pretty clear. You know, I'm not opposed to supporting whatever fiscal court decides to do. I think this is no different than the smoking ban that Reed Hare and I did back in 2000 and something. You know, we have so many pockets of the county inside the city that it's almost unenforceable. And I think once you present a fairness ordinance to the elected officials, it should be exactly what you want. And several times I've watched through Al and the group over there work through this this issue, and it is an issue. You know, I don't want anybody to be discriminated against. I was discriminated against when I applied for a job with the city of Owensboro. I understand discrimination. I was part of the team that led the discussions for prosthetics and orthotics on the American Disabilities Act in Washington. You know, I understand it, but it needs to have some teeth. It needs to be enforceable, and I'm not so sure that you can do that by just isolating it inside the city. You know, that's my biggest thing. I think it's poor public policy. You know, if businesses are so interested in having a fairness ordinance, if they do the right thing, I don't believe we need one. It's on them to do the right thing as well. So, and as Larry said, it takes 3 votes. So if 3 commissioners decide they want to put that on the agenda, I can't stop it. I just don't think it's good public policy to try and, when you have an apartment complex that's on one street and and 2 streets over, there's another apartment complex that's in the county. I don't know how you can do that and enforce it. Yes, sir?
I was just noting time.
Oh, what were you pointing at?
Hannah.
Oh, I don't see Hannah. So, all right. And second part of the question was, I'm sorry.
We'll move on, Tom. We need to time's up, so we'll move on. We'll move on to Drayson Williams. Drayson, that was a long-winded question, so I am going to repeat it. Will you commit to bringing a fairness ordinance to a vote? And what type of fairness ordinance would you be willing to support, if any?
I am a history major. I'm also, if you can't see, a Black man. And so a lot of the times, we can't necessarily wait on public opinion to change to protect people. And so, yes, I am definitely for a fairness ordinance, especially around housing and in particular housing and employment. A lot of the times we think that the role of government is to sort of stay out of these sort of issues. But the truth is, we want Owensboro to not only be able to attract businesses, but to be home for people. And there are people here, whether some of us don't want to admit it or not, who identify as LGBTQIA. And until we show them and protect them in whatever capacity, they will not feel home here. And so for me, this is what we do because they deserve to have a place, their hometown, to feel like they matter here, that they will be protected here, and that they're valued here. And the fairness ordinance would be just one way we can do that for our brothers and sisters who are LGBTQIA. It's a no-brainer.
Thank you, Drayson. Larry Condor.
Thank you, Matt. I would sometimes like to really call this not necessarily a fairness ordinance, but a non-discrimination ordinance. But we'll go with that as it is today, okay? Whenever each one of us as a politically elected official, whenever we swear an oath before we take office, we swear an oath to uphold the laws of the Constitution of the United States, state of Kentucky, and all, therefore, laws and ordinances that are local that we have on the books. And so recently you had a Supreme Court that further defined the word sex, what that meant. And in the context of employment, specifically, it did that. So that's on the books. So if any official that gets voted in, whoever you are, and you make that oath, you are first and foremost agreeing that what has been approved, that you will uphold. That is our duty to do so. And that law applied to employment. Move to the next piece of that. Will that be able to apply that into public housing, into public accommodations? In time, probably so, that'll happen. Some lawsuit's going to make this get all the way up to the Supreme Court again to affirm the rights of the LGBTQAI plus community. But today, in doing this, I've said this for almost 5 years now. All are welcome. And an ordinance that the city of Owensboro can put together, similar to what Davis County Fiscal Court did. There's a little bit of tweaks that need to be done to that. But that sends a signal to everyone that we know the Supreme Court's going to affirm us because they already have. We're just getting in front of the ball right now so people understand that we know what needs to happen and we're going to do it on our own. So we are good and we are doing this for everyone else outside of this community and especially those in this community.
Pam Smith-Wright is not on the call. She's dropped the call, and I'm not sure what we are going to do to get her back on. Hannah's working with her right now to get her on the call, but Matt, I guess we go ahead and advance to the next because
she is working on calling in right now.
Oh, okay.
Should be a second.
There she is. Okay. Pam, do you need Matt to repeat the question? Matt, you want to go ahead and take it over?
Yeah, I'm going to repeat the question, Pam. We're on question 2, and this is about the fairness ordinance or the non-discrimination ordinance. The question is 2 parts. Are you willing to bring a fairness ordinance to a vote? And 2, what type of fairness ordinance would you be willing to support, if any?
In answer to the first question, yes, I would be willing to bring a fairness ordinance to a vote. And the reason for that is because being a woman of color, I know the problems that we face as not being in the mainstream, as you could say. And could you tell me what the second part of that question was, please?
What type of fairness ordinance would you be willing to support, if any?
Okay. I would be willing to support a fairness ordinance where all people are treated equally in the workplace and housing and all of those things, which are not being done at this particular time. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Okay, question 3, we will start with Drayson Williams. So Drayson, downtown has clearly made huge strides in recent years and is a source of pride for Owensboro, but there are still areas for improvement, notably attracting people to live downtown and filling some of the empty storefronts that we still have. What do you think needs to be done in order to get different price points for downtown housing and also make it easier for businesses to operate downtown?
Yes, so I've been doing a lot of research on the benefits of downtown. And, first I think it's important to make the case to the community why it's important to invest in our downtown. Every community needs a center where everyone all over the city can come and fellowship with one another. And that's the first thing we must do. And then the next thing is identify the type of businesses that we want, that the community wants downtown, whether that's more restaurants, whether that's investing in the museum we already have downtown that could be a great attraction. And one way to do that is, we have many small businesses that are looking to grow, that may need some mentorship or technical support from the Chamber of Commerce. And there are opportunities to reach out and identify those businesses that we believe would be a great addition to our downtown, and working with them on budgeting. Is there a way to help you with, a small business loan, grants for developing the area for your particular business. There are many opportunities, but first it's identifying what the community wants downtown.
Thanks, Drayson. Larry Condor.
Thank you, Matt. Having been associated with a lot of the different things that have gone on in our beautiful downtown today over at least the last 12 years, there are a couple of things that have happened, or not have happened actually, that needed to be addressed and still need to. We've got the core that's actually been working well. We have a couple other things that need to be built out. But when you talk about affordable housing has a lot of different definitions for a lot of different people. And most of the time, we could build out at least 300 apartments at $750 a pop and fill them up probably in less than 90 days. When you get to $1,200, that's a problem in Owensboro. And it really is. Now, to me, people can afford affordable housing in that manner. And then when it comes to buildings or businesses, we have to have those individuals that can live there to spend the money, but also those individuals coming in to work downtown also. That foot traffic has got to be there. And there are certain little issues that we can address of pathing of streets and speed and different things like that is ongoing. But we also really need to engage those property owners that are there, that not only the ones from the past, but for here currently, where they have significant footprints that are really being underutilized. And what can they be used for to be able to lift up the rest of our downtown and spread it out, both west and east, especially to the northwest.
Thanks, Larry. Pam Smith-Wright.
Would you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. What needs to be done in order to get different price points for downtown housing and also make it easier for businesses to operate downtown?
I think that what we need to do, there are a lot of moving parts to downtown, and we have all of these properties that are, some of them are boarded up, are vacant, that we could take those properties and turn them into housing for low-income folks. And I think we need a grocery store downtown that would give people that vision of living downtown. I mean, what's the point of living downtown when you still have to drive, all the way out to Kroger or all the way out to Sam's or wherever, when you can do your local shopping? I mean, everybody needs milk, bread, and those kind of things. And if we had those kind of things downtown, that would give people the desire to move down there. Not only will the residents have access to those stores, so would people who are in business. They may just need to run to a store for something. So I think that we need to think about that and try to give people a little push to come downtown, and if that means a little help in a loan application or whatever it would take for them to open a business, to mentor people. And that's what I think our city is liking. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Tom Watson.
Thank you, Matt. I think the work that's been done downtown is obviously tremendous. And it's getting residents and people to live downtown is just another phase of what was going on to try and get downtown moving in the right direction. It's going to be consumer driven. I'm not sure the government can design something that specifically can get people downtown. I don't believe we can subsidize developers downtown to make only $750 a month apartments. It has to be consumer driven, and it takes a long time to try and phase in the residential and the Am I still there? Hello? Well, I don't know what that was.
It was me being reconnected. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. As I said, I think it's a phase-in problem. I know that the millennials are not really interested, and it seems like them buying houses and cars, and they want to be able to ride their bikes and be able to move around, foot traffic. But you have to find a developer that's willing to take a chance on the price point in the apartments. And this is a problem, but it needs to be a problem that the community decides about to take on, and not just government. We can assist, but we shouldn't be the ones to carry the load exactly, especially from the financial side. But there's very little land left to really do a lot of construction downtown, so it has to be well thought out. And there are special consultants that can come in and help us do this. I don't know that I have the capability.
I need to jump in. Time is up on this question. Thank you. Fourth question, we'll move to Larry Condor. I think it was 5 years ago that the City Commission passed an ordinance to eliminate primary elections, and some of the reasons given were that the races are nonpartisan, it saves money, and so forth. But what we've ended up with are 16 candidates on the ballot for City Commission, and that makes it difficult to simply host a forum like this, let alone for voters to narrow down who they're going to choose. So with that in mind, yes or no, do you support reinstating primary elections? If so, why? And if not, why not? Thank you.
Yes. I think I was quick enough. Yes. I mean, to do this, the key to having this issue where people they don't even know who you are. They have no idea what your ID, what your vision is, what you stand for. It's gotten way out of hand. And it has to come back. It has to come back in earnest, back to hopefully the way it was before, where you had a primary, bringing your mayoral candidates down to 2 and the city commissioner candidates down to 8. That has to happen. It's the only way that you're going to be able to understand really instead of it being a middle school popularity contest that's only about your name, that it actually becomes a true and honest election, that people want to be good servant leaders. And you find that out by weeding out those that really are just there for whatever reason instead of the right reason, which is to be a true servant leader.
Thank you, Larry. Pam Smith-Wright?
Yes. Well, I'm one of the people who voted for us to not have a primary. And my reasoning for that was it should not be about who has the most money wins. And that's what it seemed to me at the time when I was running, that if you had a lot of money, you could put up more signs, you could put up more billboards, you could do all these things. And so that meant that you were the person, but that's not necessarily true. And I felt that if we had people who were able to use the process, because we all have a right to run for public office, whether we have money or not. And you see what has happened. This has given all of those people who may not have had money to run in a primary plus a general election, the choice and the chance to run for public office.
Thanks, Pam. Tom Watson?
If elected, that's one of the first things I'm going to do is reinstitute the primary. I've had the opportunity to run as a mayor with 4 candidates back in 2004. I understand how much better you can really distinguish between the candidates. Secondarily, I've said all along, and any elected official that doesn't believe that, they need to get out, that seat belongs to the people. It doesn't belong to me. It doesn't belong to anybody else. And if you've got 38, 39% of the people voting, and they're only voting because somebody does have the most signs or somebody they know, without really understanding where they stand on all the different things that come before the city commission, it's just not fair. It's a little bit, I think it's a little bit selfish to do it that way. And I'm dead set against not ever having the opportunity to have a primary and move forward into the general election. I think it's the best way to go. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Jason Williams?
Yes, I'm definitely for reinstituting a primary, and I'm not going to make the case that it's about money because, if you're on the outside, it's always going to be difficult for you to get certain people to sponsor you or to donate to your campaign. So it's really not about that. What it is about is making it a little easier for people to be civically engaged. It's difficult when there's 16 candidates or even 4 mayors for you to actually be able to engage critically with what each candidate is saying, policy arguments. At this point, we're realizing that if you are a leader, it should be your goal to encourage and make it easier for people to be civically engaged. And this primary process only helps with that by limiting the candidates that you have to get to know, that you got to figure out who's donating here and there. And it helps you to be able to critically engage with their policy, with what they've done in the past, who's donating to them. So I'm definitely for that policy.
Thank you, Jason. Next question, and Pam, we'll start with you. Owensboro has always prided itself on being a great place to raise a family, and rightfully so. A low crime rate has always been one of the many family-friendly qualities that we've had. But over the last year to 18 months, we've seen a rise in murders, shootings, even property crimes. Why do you think crime is escalating in Owensboro, and what would you do as mayor to address the issue?
Well, first, let me start out by saying I think we have an awesome police department, but everybody needs training, more training, if that's possible. Crime has risen all over the country. So, I know that we're talking about Owensboro because that's where we live, but it is not a problem just located here. It's nationwide. And part of that, I feel, is because of drugs. Part of it, I feel, is because of people feeling like they're not treated fairly. All of these things with the killing of Black people across our nation is horrendous, and it has to stop. And all of the things that come along with the killings and whatever is an uprising of those people who feel like they're being oppressed. So we have to find a way through education, through opportunities for these young people who have access to guns and whatever, and we have to start penalizing parents for having guns where children have access to them. So I think that it's a major problem, but I think Owensboro, Kentucky, if anybody can fix it, we can fix it. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Tom Watson.
I think for 8 years before I got there, the police department and all our public safety guys, were kind of, left out of the success that was going on in Owensboro. And that put us behind a little bit. I think the problem with the breakdown of the family is a huge issue. I think the mental health issues that are in our community and other communities is a big issue that escalates crime. I know that Vanderburgh County just got a HIDA designation, which is what I've been working on for 7, 8, 10 months. And generally what happens when federal money comes into a neighboring county, the troublemakers kind of move to the next biggest place, and it's Owensboro. So there's methamphetamine problems, there's opioid problems. There are a lot of things that have to be addressed, but you have to do it with a strong and appropriate police department. And I think we have that. I think our sheriff's department is strong and appropriate, and you have to support them. And I'm proud to say that I was just got an endorsement from the FOP last week, and because I do support law enforcement. I don't know how to do law enforcement. I don't have the courage to walk into a house with all that trouble, but we have people that are trained, and the COVID has put us behind a little bit because the academy's been closed. So our policemen are shorthanded a little bit right now, but it is that, like Pam said, it's all over the country, and mainly because this COVID thing has increased people's lack of position and lack of things to do. So I believe that with the proper education, again, starting at the lowest level, 2-3 years old, and teach these children about
Watch the time, please. Thanks, Tom. Drayson Williams.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Absolutely, no problem. How do you think crime is escalating in Owensboro, and what would you do as mayor to address the issue?
Yes, so I may view crime just a little bit differently or the solution to crime just a little bit differently. I believe that when we see an uptick in crime, we should be looking at the conditions that are causing it, because a lot of the times we look at the people and say the people are the problem when there's conditions that make crime and that promote crime. And so in particular, I think we look at COVID-19 that's put more people in their home, that's making more people feel unstable in their current situation. We look at 25% of the people struggling to pay rent. They're cost burdened. They were cost burdened before COVID-19. We look at 22% of kids in poverty, 16% of adults, families in poverty locally, and more young people considering suicide. And so all of these conditions do not help to promote a safe community. And so one way I believe that we address this issue is to address the conditions. How do we make sure that people are stable in their housing? How do we make sure that kids have food? How do we make sure that young people have mental health services when they have those feelings of suicide. So it's about addressing the condition, and those conditions aren't always addressed by more police. Now, we don't have to defund the police, but they're not addressed by more police, and that's not the solution.
Thank you, Drayson. Larry Condor.
Thank you, Matt. This issue of safety being the forefront of what makes Owensboro just the great place it is to live, work, and play. It comes down to one issue that continues to rise, and that's the use of methamphetamine. Through some of the help of Senator McConnell in diverting some funds, along with Tom Watson, on changing it from opioid use to methamphetamine use, some of those funds may be coming available soon to really begin a process where we look at how methamphetamine, being so cheap, being so easy to get, has affected our community, our families, our jobs, our businesses, our prisons, our jails, our courts. You go on and on and on about that one issue of how it is so important that over 80% of the cases that are heard in court, especially family court, directly are relatable to methamphetamine. And you can look at all of the shootings that we've had. You can look at gang activity, whatever the case may be. Get down to the root of it. You're going to find there's a meth issue there. Somehow, some way, it's going to be there. So instead of us continue to ask, what's wrong with you? We should ask each person, what happened to you to make you want to go down that path?
Thanks, Larry. Moving on to the next question, and Tom, we'll start with you on that. And it's going to focus on recruitment and retention for businesses. And I think we've seen in Owensboro the ability to recruit young talent to Owensboro has improved. We still struggle a bit to retain that talent. So my question is, how do we stay attractive as a community that successfully recruits and retains talent? And is there an opportunity to capitalize on the growth of virtual workplaces that we've seen over this year?
Well, I think we capitalize on the progress that we've made in the past few years. Anybody that comes to Owensboro, always, when I'm greeting all these groups all the time as mayor, I always tell people, if we can get you to Owensboro for a little bit of time, week or 2 or 3 weeks, most of the time we can keep you. But since we're kind of off the beaten path, it's difficult for us to be, for access, for people just to drive through Owensboro. Thankfully, we've got I-165 moving. Hopefully, we're working with the Mid-State Corridor and Huntingburg. I see you now, Hannah. 1 minute. Thank you. Trying to keep us through in transportation aspect so that we can get people here and keep them here. I think we've got great businesses. They're growing. This COVID thing has really shown a lot of companies that you can work from home. It's also shown a lot of people how important our teachers are while they're trying to be at home and work at home and take care of their children. So I think our faith-based community are safe, our community that's safe. And I think we're in the top 10 or 11 in millennial, in this recent study I read somewhere that they think that we're a good place to live. So, it's a combination of factors, and not just one thing is going to keep us going in the right direction, other than we should continue to show progress. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Drayson?
Repeat the question, please.
Absolutely. How do we stay attractive as a community that successfully recruits and retains younger talent? And is there an opportunity to capitalize on the growth of virtual workplaces that we've seen over this past year?
Yes, definitely. As the youngest candidate, I was born and raised in Owensboro, and I knew early on that there would be no opportunities for me here. The culture sometimes wasn't appealing. It just wasn't necessarily in terms of growth and inviting place. And so I think the first thing is to address the culture. It's in a fairness ordinance is a part of addressing that culture. It's saying, showing that we are a progressive city, one that's going to invite people in and make them feel at home so that they can create homes here. And so first is addressing our culture, and then, young people are looking for entertainment as well. And we definitely have to diversify our entertainment. If we're bringing them in, we need a reason to keep them, and that's jobs and entertainment. So we have to address diversify our entertainment. And on your point about virtual workspaces, I think that's important for young people, because the new jobs, the jobs that are mostly that young people are having, are virtual. And so it's important that we figure out some methods of engaging young people in the workplace in that manner. I'm not sure how to do that, but I know there are some great people who can figure that out.
Thanks, Drayson. Larry Condor.
Thank you, Matt. Of course, as we've done and try to do all the time with the work that Brittany Johnson continues to do at EDC and that Candace does at the Chamber, OCTC, Brescia, Kentucky Wesleyan, making sure that the workforce development continues there. That's the hard stuff, that we need to train and make sure that we have available for people. But once they get here, I've always asked a lot of young people that walk around downtown, why are you here? What would you come to Owensboro for? And they'll look around and they'll tell me, we love the city. We love the things that our family can do and some things like that. We're just missing a couple of little things that'll take us just right over that edge. Those things to where children, teenagers, have the opportunity to not just hang out, but to actually engage in activities with possibly even older people is what they want to do. There are those individuals that are currently coming to Owensboro that just want to look and know that, yeah, okay, we're addressing some safety issues. We're doing all those different things. But what is it that can make us even bigger and better? And that's what they're looking. They're looking for that quality of life that just keeps growing, where you just don't stop and you make it available to everyone, regardless of how they're born, regardless of who they know, or regardless of what happened to them in life.
Thank you, Larry. Pam Smith-Wright.
I'm sorry, I need it repeated, please.
Sorry, I had it on mute. How do we stay attractive as a community that successfully recruits and retains talent? And is there an opportunity to capitalize on the growth of virtual workplaces that we've seen over the past year?
I think we stay current and recruit talent by inclusiveness. And, I have done some research and stuff, and big companies like Amazon are places, are companies that are looking for places to establish their businesses where you include people who are gay and lesbian and, the LGBTQ plus community. And, that's one thing that's so important, that my kids left here because they didn't feel that Owensboro was all-inclusive enough for them. So they went to bigger cities where there were more people that looked like them. There were more people that wanted the same things as they do. And I have a daughter that lives in Louisville. She's not real happy with that right now. And then I have a son that lives in Richmond, Virginia. And their opportunities are so much more accessible to them to grow in their occupations and in their lives. Even though we have great school systems and all of those things, we've got to start including all of our people in everything that we do. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. Okay, so we will move on to closing statements. And as I said earlier, we will go in reverse ballot order. You'll have 60 seconds to give your closing, and we will start with Drayson Williams. Drayson?
Thank you to Candace and Mr. Matt. Thank you for holding this event. I'm running because I believe that everyone is valuable, that everyone in Owensboro deserves a say in the decision-making process. And like I said in the beginning, for far too long, so many people have been left out, and it's really affected the way we see the city. This is a great city, and it's difficult to see it as great if you don't feel like the people who represent you are listening to you. And I think in order to move forward and for everyone to be a part of this city, it's going to take someone who believes that everyone is valuable, that we make sure that is true by listening to them and addressing their concerns, the concerns that have been there for so long that have went unaddressed. You know, it's time that we start to invest in the people. You know, we have the infrastructure. Thank you to the candidates. We have it. Now it's time for the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Drayson. Tom Watson.
Thanks, Matt. It's good to see you again out of your hole a little bit. You know, I'm a firm believer that we should be as self-reliant as we possibly can as a community. When you're government reliant, the government moves too slow. It's cumbersome. Leadership changes, values change, and 10 years from now, we'll still be in the same position we are now. If you're not self-reliant, and through the public school system, through the Chamber of Commerce, the EDC, our post-secondary education, you have the opportunities are there. So I believe that the more self-reliant we can be, I think the better off we're going to be. And I want to thank everybody for being on. I learned some things today from people I really didn't know that well, and I appreciate having the opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Pam Smith-Wright.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Candy. Once again, I want to thank the Chamber for this opportunity. I'm asking for your support on November the 3rd. I hope my experience and my love for this community will cause you to give me your support and your vote. It's time for women to step up and take a leading role in our community. If not now, when? If not me, then who? Don't be fooled by folks saying women aren't tough enough. When the first man became mayor over 200 years ago, he was given a chance. I ask you to give me that same chance. I'm number 2 on the ballot, and I would appreciate your vote because it is the right time, and may the best woman win.
Thanks, Pam. And we'll wrap up with Larry Condor.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Candace, and everyone over at over the Chamber. You know, today we have formed new habits, and we do live differently, we work differently, we play differently. We're set up, the city of Owensboro is really set up to take advantage of some things that is historic. This election is going to be historic. Plain matter of fact, it is. But what can we do going forward for the next 4 to 6 years to really make sure everybody feels that they're welcome to the table? That regardless of how you were born, regardless of what happened to you, that you're a part of this community, no matter what. That we can change boards, we can change some policies, we can look honestly at systemic discrimination in a good way, where everybody is supported, no matter who they are. We can do those things. So Owensboro will be fine, but is fine good enough? Fine's not good enough. We can do better, and we will. Thank you again for your time. Number 1 on the ballot.
Thanks, Larry. I'd just like to thank each of you for being here. I know this is a challenging format. I'm sure it's a challenging campaign for you. It's a challenging year for everyone, and I just appreciate what you're doing. I think all of you set a good example for what a debate should look like, what leadership should look like, and I think we're lucky that we have you on the ballot. For those of you who are watching, just a reminder that the Messenger Inquirer and the Chamber will be putting out a voter's guide in the next couple of weeks. I encourage you to check it out, be educated on the election, and go vote. So thank you all.
Okay, now I would like to explain the rules for our Kentucky House District 13 forum. Will be very similar to what we did with the mayoral forum. We will start with 60-second opening statements, and we will start with the incumbent first. So Jim Glenn will start, and then DJ Johnson will give his opening statement. We'll then move into a question and answer session. That will be 90 seconds each. Again, we will start the first question with the incumbent and then alternate from there. So, so Jim Glenn will take the first question, and then the second question DJ Johnson will take first. And then we will do closing statements that will also be 60 seconds, and with that we will go reverse order. DJ Johnson will go first, Jim Glenn will go second. Okay, let's begin with our opening statements, and Jim Glenn will start us off. 60 seconds.
How you doing? My name is Jim Glenn. I'm the state representative, 13th District. I'm in my 12th year as a state representative. In addition to that, I am a son. My mother's still alive. She's in her 90s. I'm a father. I have 2 adult children. And I was a husband. I'm a widower now. My wife passed away from cancer about 10 years ago. When I first got married, I was a graphics person. I managed about $45 million in graphics sales, so I come out of industry. Currently, 30 seconds left. Currently, I am a teacher at Owensboro Community Technical College. I'm a tenured full professor, and I teach in a broad set of areas. I teach business or management. I teach econ, finance, and marketing. I'm Jim Glenn. Appreciate your vote. November 13th, or November 3rd, I'm sorry. 13th is district.
All right, DJ Johnson, 60 seconds.
Hi, my name is DJ Johnson. I'm from Owensboro, born and raised here, graduated from Apollo in 1975, and graduated from Western in 79, where I was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the field artillery. Ended up going over to Italy into a unit called the 1st of the 509th Airborne Battalion Combat Team, which does mean that I did jump out of perfectly good airplanes. But it was a great mission, great opportunity over there. I spent 11 years in the Army as a field artillery officer, finished as a captain. Once I got out of the Army, I got into small businesses. I stayed in the Washington, D.C. area for about 15 years in small business, but then came back home to Owensboro in 2003. Again, I was managing our family car wash business. You may have heard of Sparkle Boy Car Wash. We sold that a couple of years ago, and now I am working primarily at the the Senior Community Center of Owensboro, Davis County. I'm working a lot with the Meals on Wheels program, and I'm a part-time teacher. Thank you.
Okay, first question will go to you, Jim.
Yes, sir.
What do you think is the primary role of a state legislator, and what will be your top priorities if elected?
Let me start with my top priorities. Half of the state's budget is on education. I was asked when I was a city commissioner. Prior to that, I was a city commissioner, and I was asked to run for state representative because my background was education, and my wife's background was education. So I decided to say yes to help in the education area. I have educated roughly 5,000 students in the time I've been here. My wife educated probably about 4,000. So over that period of time, we've been at roughly 10,000 students we've educated in this area. Some of my students now are medical doctors. My wife, 5 of her students are currently elementary school principals. Some of my students are business people. My job is to educate as many people as I can, do the best job I can, and try to get this economy going again. That's the main job right now, trying to jumpstart the economy. So I'm focusing on that over the next 18 months.
Before we move on, let me just say, I'll ask the question once to the candidate who's going to start. If you need me to repeat the question, just ask and I'll certainly do so. DJ Johnson.
Okay, I guess first I'll talk about what is the purpose and the mission of a legislator. Basically, state legislators do 2 things. One is we create and modify laws, which sets the tone for our state. And then the second thing we do is we actually control the purse strings of the state revenues that come in. Now, the truth of the matter is the vast majority of the revenues that come in are already designated when they get to us. But there's a small percentage that we need to decide what we're going to do with those monies. And that's a very, very critical mission that we have, to use those monies, those revenues that taxpayers have given us in the best way possible. And then we, of course, as I said, do the laws. My priorities, basically I'm working on 3 things right now. One is I want to make sure that we have the most safe and secure community in the state of Kentucky here in Owensboro. Second, I've been working very closely on child welfare issues with some of the leaders in Frankfort. I'm particularly interested in foster care and adoption services. And then third, I'm working on prescription costs, particularly Medicare prescription costs. We have a prescription delivery system in Kentucky that could be much, much better organized, streamlined. That process has started. I want to continue that process when we get back to Frankfort.
The next question will focus on home rule, which is an issue that has been around for quite some time. And for those who are watching who may not be familiar with that term, home rule essentially allows governments, local governments to control their own destiny, set their own paths without being limited by state laws that some communities can find restrictive. So with that being said, this question will start with DJ Johnson. Do you support home rule? If not, why? And if so, please give an example or two of how you think the state could do a better job of allowing communities to determine their own future.
I do believe in home rule. And I'll start with just a little bit about the Constitution. The purpose of the Constitution was to limit government. It wasn't to empower government. And that's true at the federal and state levels. So we have a Constitution in place that is designed to keep the state and federal governments from doing crazy stuff, running rampant in our personal lives. That gets directly to the home rule issue. Because of that, I believe in it. I think there's some statewide issues that the state government must take care of, but ultimately, the people who are most in touch with the constituents, the residents, the citizenry of Kentucky are the local elected officials. And that being the case, I want to give them as much power as possible. I think rather than give you an example of what they can do, I'll just tell you what I don't want the state doing. And I don't want the state dictating to the local government's requirements, but then not providing the funding for it. Or the government at the federal and state level are pretty infamous for doing that sort of thing. So I'm just going to work very hard not to do that. And that being the case, I'm just going to, every chance I get, allow the local officials to do what they need to do. And when they need my help, they've got my phone number.
Jim Glenn?
Yes, sir, I'm listening to you. Oh, start answering the question?
Yes.
Okay, good deal. Basically, my background in office, I cover basically 3 issues. 1 is education, 2 is healthcare, 3 are jobs. Those are the 3 issues I plan to focus on. As far as home rule, I have no problem with that. With the local cities trying to generate enough money to keep themselves going, as long as it doesn't impact the income that's being generated by the state in running the state system. Besides that, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. Jim, you've mentioned education a couple times, and that's the direction we'll go with the next couple of questions. Obviously, education is incredibly important to the business community and the folks that the Chamber represents, particularly having a skilled and educated workforce. With that being said, community colleges, such as OCTC, where we're at today, have seen funding cuts over the last decade as compared to neighboring and what we would consider competing states like Tennessee, where community colleges is now free. With that in mind, would you support raising funding for community colleges?
I work for the community college, and I don't want it to sound like I'm trying to fund my own job. We have to figure out priorities. We have to figure out what's important for this state. If we want to compete with the people around us, we have to generate enough income to educate our citizens. Owensboro has 1 college degree for every 6 people. We need to change that. When I came here, it was roughly 13% of the population had a 4-year college degree. It's moved about 30% up to about 17%. We have to increase that. The state of Kentucky is at 24. We have to move toward that number if we plan to compete in this global economy. Thanks very much.
DJ Johnson.
I would say we actually agree on this issue more than we could possibly disagree on it. And with that, I will say that I have always made the community college system, particularly OCTC, a priority of mine. I voted for funding for grants for OCTC when I was the state representative. I will continue to do so. And my belief is this. We owe it to our children, our students, our young adults to help them identify what it is that they want to do with their lives. What is their passion? And then help them achieve the education they need to go after those passions, to chase those dreams. And I think the community college system is a key factor in that. I'm all for anyone who wants to get a 4-year degree, absolutely to do it. When they go to OCTC, they should be looking to get a 4-year degree right from that. But in step one, we need to make sure that they have the opportunity to chase the dream they want.
All right, so we'll stick with you, DJ, and we'll move on to 4-year colleges. And I just was reading a study that said since 2008, Kentucky ranked in the 10 worst states in the nation in terms of funding cuts to higher education. If you look at the nearest state 4-year state university to Owensboro, I think 19% of its total budget is now comes from state funding, and that of course shifts costs to students, families, and has to make 4-year education unattainable for some Kentuckians. So my question is, do you see that as simply the new norm for state universities, or do you have a plan to reverse this slide?
Well, I think first off, we have to take into effect what COVID is going to do. And let's just be honest, this next budget session, which is not supposed to be a budget session, but because of COVID, it's turning into one. We're going to be facing challenges we've never faced before. So one, we have to deal with that short term, and when I say short term, a couple of years challenge. And then we can talk about long term. It's going to be very difficult for anything to get additional funding in this new budget, given the revenue loss that we're probably dealing with. Having said that, there are some priorities that we must keep up the top of the list. For me, those priorities are safety and security, education, because education leads to a trained and diverse workforce that we must have if we're going to bring even more revenues into the state, new industries. So short answer, it's going to be very, very tough. Anyone tells you different is not being honest with you. Long term, of course, we've got to find a way to get those 4-year degrees in place so that we can have a trained workforce, so that we can have growth in Kentucky.
Jim Glenn?
Yes, sir, I'm listening to you. Oh, you want me to start answering the question?
I do.
To compete in the global economy, you need 3 things. 1 is technology. 2 is education. 3 is healthcare. You have those 3 things in combination, not one at a time, but all 3. You can compete any place in the world. I know you indicated that we're having a hard time in education in this state. We have to set priorities, literally. We have to figure out how we're going to fund it. We can't do it. We have to think 10 years out. I don't think a year or 2 years out. I think 10 years out all the time, have darn near all of my life. What we have to do is figure out how we're going to gain additional revenue. 1, we may have to borrow the money, and then figure out a payment plan over the next 5 or 10 years to pay the money back. But to jumpstart this economy, which we have to do, this pandemic is going to go to 2022. Once they get shots next year, the vaccines, and then the herd immunity, which is will be sometime this time next year, it will be in the 2022, but by the time we eliminate all the masks in our society and we move on. We have to be up and ready to move at that point in time. We have to start funding the schools now, and like I said, we may have to borrow some of the money to get it done and figure out a payment plan to pay the money back. I'm Jim Glenn. I'm running for state representative. Appreciate your vote.
All right, Jim, you get the next question as well.
Thank you, sir.
I want to talk a little bit about what is been termed the bathroom bills. And for the last few sessions, those types of bills have been filed. I think they have been sponsored by nearly 1/5 of the House, including some local legislators. This despite the fact that business groups have talked about the negative economic impact it can have on a community. So my question is, where do you stand on this specific bill, but even beyond that, do you or would you weigh the concerns of business leaders who warn that such socially divisive bills that can be seen as legalizing discrimination can hurt the state's economy?
I have 2 strengths. 1 is business. Like I said, I manage $45 million in industrial sales as a young man when I first got married. I was in the industry for my first 15 years of my marriage. My other strength is education. Besides that, I listen. I will go around and listen to the public and have them tell me what they're interested in doing. I have traveled a good part of the world. I've been on 5 continents, 5 of the 7 continents on Earth. In Europe, the bathrooms are shared by men and women, the same bathroom, in a number of countries I've been in. We have to figure out what's important to us. I will listen to the public. They will tell me what they think is important, and I'll respond. Thank you.
DJ Johnson.
I will start off by saying this goes back, I think, to the question you asked previously about the local rule. I think this is more of a local rule issue than it is a state level issue. This is a situation of if we're not careful, the state will try to put a one-size-fits-all solution to an issue that is different from one community to the next. I think it's the community's not only responsibility, but their right to make these decisions. So I have, in the past, I've been more of a proponent for these bills. I've looked at it, and in respect to local laws or local rule, I would prefer to defer to the locals as far as what they want to do with their own communities. However, saying that, I would add that it is a fact that businesses are concerned about diversity and concerned about these issues. I've actually met with business leaders just recently to talk about this exact issue. And what I learned from it was that businesses want to come to communities where there is the diversity. It's up to the community to decide if that's what they want or not.
Okay, DJ, we'll stay with you for the next question. Kentucky's labor participation rate, the number of working age adults actually working, has slipped below 50% in many parts of the state, even before COVID-19. Why do you think so many working age Kentuckians are not working or not looking for work? And what do you think the state can or should do to reverse this trend?
Well, I think we're going to have to look at our unemployment policies. The fact is that we have the most, how do I put this succinctly? We pay more out in unemployment per person than our surrounding states. And so it makes it not lucrative or enticing, but it makes it easier to not work. We've got to not penalize people who need help financially, but we've got to encourage the people who can work to do so. The jobs are out there. There are plenty of jobs. And again, this goes back to, are they trained? Do we have a trained workforce? And that goes back to the community college system that we talked about. We need to do 2 things. 1, encourage people to work, and 2, provide the opportunity for them to be trained and prepared to work so that we can increase those numbers.
Jim Glenn?
I have a family of 4. My wife, myself, my 2 children. We have 10 4-year college degrees, all from major universities. We work. My mother's children, my mother's grandchildren, all have college degrees, except for 1. Illinois, Wisconsin, Cornell, Kentucky, Maryland. My son's working on a PhD at Michigan State. We believe in work. All of us work. And we have all of our lives. It's a cultural issue. My father sent us all to school, everyone, except for me. What I did, he gave us money to take the bus to school. I walked every day because I was too cheap to spend the money. I kept the money to spend it later on. It's a cultural issue. You have to get people to think. Working is important. It will move you forward. It will solidify your economic situation as you grow older. You can't live on Social Security. It only makes up 40% of the money you need to retire on. The rest of the money has to come from a 401k or a pension. You have to explain that to people up front, because some people think, well, I'll just wait to Social Security later on and make it. You can't make it on Social Security. You do that and you'll starve. We have to get people to think differently. I teach in my classroom. I've been teaching my classroom for years. And my students are now starting to turn. They said, what do I have to do to make money? And I'm out of time. Thank you very much.
All right, Jim, well, you get to take the next question, which will actually be our last question as well.
Awesome.
Okay, so the last few years, I think that the perception has been that Owensboro has lagged behind other areas in terms of influence in Frankfort, state board appointments, funding for local projects. Do you think that's a fair assessment? If not, why? And if so, what will you do to address these issues?
The state of Kentucky has 6 cities, 6 counties that generate 50% of all the revenue for the state. Owensboro is one of those 6 cities that generates money for the state. The other ones are Paducah, Bowling Green, Louisville, Lexington, Northern Kentucky. We handle a lot of money. I know some people have an image that we are behind and things of that nature. In my first 10 years in the legislature, I poured back into this county $171 million in road money. That generates jobs, and it helps expand the economy locally. We are doing very well as a community. It's just sometimes you look at New York and Chicago and Los Angeles and you say you want to be like them. Well, they're multi-million-dollar cities. We're doing very well at our size. We have to keep moving. We have to continue increasing our education. We have to continue diversifying our economy. Tommy Thompson, myself, and the senator at that time got $2 million together and gave it to Phil Packing Company to generate hot dog lines here. We brought 45 jobs back. I took a class at Iowa State University in hot dog manufacturing and ham manufacturing, just so I can understand what Phil Packing Company does and do a much better job as a state representative. Took a class at Harvard in marketing, so I could do a better job for our society, for our community. My job is to make sure we're generating more jobs in this community, and I'm out of time.
All right, DJ Johnson.
The short answer to your question is yes, we are underrepresented in Frankfort. When I went to Frankfort my first term as state representative, I was stunned by how Owensboro and Davis County and the northwest part of the state is an afterthought in Frankfort. It was stunning to me. And I worked very hard for 2 years to change that. And we're making progress. And I'll point out, within our region, we have Suzanne Miles as a state representative. She's also a member of the House Republican Party leadership. So she is a majority leader in Frankfort. So we're making progress. But that doesn't change the fact that Owensboro needs real representation. Owensboro needs somebody that's willing to go to work in Frankfort, show up for everything that needs to be showed up for, go to the committees, do the work before the committees, know the bills that are going to be passed, and be ready to vote on them. And then when it's time to vote, vote on them. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work myself ragged. I will work as hard as I possibly can for the people of Owensboro to make a better Owensboro. It's critical that we stop being underrepresented in Frankfort.
All right, thank you for answering those questions. Now we'll move into the closing statements. Again, 60 seconds. DJ Johnson, you'll start us.
I'll just start off by saying this. I think Owensboro is the greatest place in the country to live, but I want to make a better Owensboro. And I know that we can do that by just what I said. When we're properly represented in Frankfort, and I don't mean have a representative in Frankfort, but when we're properly represented in Frankfort, we're going to be able to do much more to make Owensboro a better place. I absolutely believe in safety and security of our city. I absolutely believe in taking care of our children. I'm going to make child welfare one of my high priorities. And I believe in making sure that our elderly have prescription medicines that they can afford. All of those things can be done if we work in Frankfort. And I want to go back there and represent you. My name is DJ Johnson. I am a candidate for state representative for the 13th District. I am asking for your vote.
And Jim Glenn?
Bottom line, I'm running for office because I want to give back to society. I've lived here a number of years, and everyone in my family has given back to society. We've sat on committees in our community to help generate money for the people in this community, to make this a much better community. I went to a doctor's office once for a physical, and standing behind the doctor was a student of mine. I said, "Ma'am, I know you." She said, "Yeah, I took 5 classes with you." I said, "Ma'am, I don't teach science." She said, "I took your business classes, then I went to EKU." I said, "When did you become a nurse?" She pulled her coat back. She was a medical doctor. She said, "Everything you taught me at OCC worked in medical school." I had 2 students come back from Tennessee. They called me up on the phone and said, "You going to be there a while?" I said, "Yeah." They showed up, they said, we took your classes 12 years ago. One of the students said, I married the girl in the class against the wall. She believes in everything I'm saying right now. That is, what you taught us still works. I use that in Frankfurt. I use it in the state legislature. I use it in the city. My job is to give back. My name is Jim Glenn, State Representative, 13th District. Appreciate your vote.
Okay, that will conclude our forum for the House 13th District. I want to thank both of you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Very informative. Was refreshing to ask questions and get real answers and informative answers, and I think that the viewers will appreciate that as well. So thank you for being here. And then thank you, Candace. Thank you, Bart. Thank the staff of the Chamber who have put this together, and all of you who are watching at home, thanks for viewing, and remember to vote.
First of all, Matt Francis, thank you again, sir, for your fine work as a moderator. You've been doing this for many years, and you're a great asset to our community year-round, but also at election time, so thank you very much. Thanks to all of you for being engaged and for participating in this forum as spectators. Now you need to go act on what you've heard and be an engaged voter. Leadership is rewarding, but it's never easy, and it is certainly not easy to put yourself out in the public to be voted on. So I want to say thank you to all of our candidates for having the courage and the commitment to our community and our region to hold themselves up for public office. So when you see them, whether you vote for them or not, thank them, because it's a critical piece of the growth of our community. So thank you very much.